Trump's chilling targets. Did ICE have Alex Pretti in their sights amid anti-compassion crusade? Listen up. Everyone, we're diving deep into a story that's as disturbing as it is revealing, straight from the heart of America's ongoing immigration battles. Alex Pretti, that brave 37-year-old intensive care nurse gunned down in Minneapolis, might just have been more than a tragic accident in the crossfire. He could have been deliberately marked because he embodied everything Donald Trump has railed against: compassion, helping the vulnerable, and standing up to injustice. I'm not pulling this out of thin air. It's rooted in Trump's own words over the years, where he's shown outright disdain for people who show kindness, especially toward immigrants, the sick, or anyone who doesn't fit his tough guy mold. This isn't conspiracy nonsense. It's connecting the dots between a president's inflammatory rhetoric and real-world violence that's claiming innocent lives. I'll break it all down for you step by step, with the hard facts, clear explanations, and unfiltered truth, because you deserve to know how this ties into a bigger pattern of targeting dissenters. We're talking lives on the line, democracy at stake, and a system that's rewarding division over decency. Stay with me, this is going to be thorough, because skimming the surface won't cut it when the stakes are this high. First off, let's paint the full picture of who Alex Pretti was and what happened to him, so you can grasp why his death isn't just another statistic, it's a flashpoint that exposes deeper cracks in our society. Pretti was no radical agitator. He was a dedicated healthcare worker in Minneapolis, the kind of guy who spent his days saving lives in the ICU, tending to the old, the sick, and the hurting without asking questions about where they came from. On January 24, 2026, during a heated protest against ICE's aggressive raids in Minnesota, raids that were part of Trump's massive deportation push, Pretti showed up to voice his opposition. He wasn't there to cause trouble. He was exercising his rights as an American citizen, legally carrying a firearm for protection in a state where that's allowed, but not brandishing it or threatening anyone. Eyewitnesses and viral videos confirm he was peaceful, just one voice in a crowd demanding an end to what many see as brutal federal overreach. Then, in a split second, an ICE agent opened fire, killing him on the spot. The official story from the Department of Homeland Security. They called it domestic terrorism and labeled Pretti an assassin, claiming self-defense. But hold on, the footage tells a different tale. It shows no aggressive moves from Pretti. He was simply there, standing his ground against policies he believed were tearing families apart. This wasn't justice. It was a knee-jerk reaction in a powder keg environment created by ramped-up enforcement that treats protesters like enemies. To understand why someone like Pretti might have been seen as a target, perhaps even on some informal kill list. In the eyes of hardline enforcers, we have to zoom in on Trump's long history of demonizing compassion and anyone who helps immigrants. This isn't exaggeration. It's drawn from his own public statements that have fueled a culture of suspicion and hostility. Remember back in 2018, during the height of his first term's family separation policy at the border. Trump openly mocked people who showed empathy, saying things like, "They're not sending their best" about immigrants, and implying that aiding them makes you weak or complicit in crime. Fast forward to his 2024 campaign rallies, where he doubled down, warning that anyone helping immigrants is essentially aiding criminals who are poisoning the blood of our country. He didn't stop at rhetoric. His administration pushed policies that criminalized sanctuary cities and anyone providing shelter or support to undocumented folks. In one infamous interview, Trump even expressed bafflement at human vulnerability, saying he doesn't understand why people get old or sick, as if compassion for the elderly or ill is a flaw. He once quipped about John McCain, "He's a war hero because he was captured." I like people who weren't captured, showing his contempt for weakness or suffering. And in a 2025 speech after retaking office, Trump went further, railing against do-gooders who love and have compassion for the wrong people, calling them obstacles to his agenda. He said, point blank, "These bleeding hearts are the problem. They let in the sick, the tired, the criminals." It's this mindset that turns everyday heroes like nurses, who naturally feel compassion akin to what Jesus taught, helping the stranger, the sick, the oppressed into perceived threats. Now, let's connect these dots boldly and without apology. If you're someone like Pretti, who as a nurse inherently stands for healing and humanity, and you're publicly opposing Trump's immigration crackdown, you fit the profile Trump has painted as an enemy. His words aren't just hot air, they've inspired actions. In Minnesota alone, ICE operations under his directive have led to 2 high-profile killings in quick succession, first Renee Nicole Good during a raid, then Pretti at the protest. Critics, including civil rights groups like the ACLU, argue this isn't coincidence. It's the result of a dehumanizing narrative that gives agents carte blanche to view dissenters as dangers. Is there an actual official kill list at ICE? The truth is, no concrete evidence has surfaced, yet investigations are ongoing, with Minnesota officials and federal watchdogs digging in. But here's the fair assessment. Trump's rhetoric creates an atmosphere where such lists aren't needed. The implication is enough. Agents are trained to prioritize threats, and when the president labels compassionate acts as betrayal, it lowers the bar for using lethal force. Pretti, by protesting raids that targeted immigrant communities, many of whom are sick or elderly patients he might have treated, was directly challenging that agenda. He was helping immigrants indirectly through his advocacy, embodying the Jesus-like compassion Trump has scorned. In Trump's world, that's not virtue. It's vulnerability to be exploited or eliminated. Let's expand on this by looking at the broader context of Trump's views on aging, illness, and empathy, because it all feeds into why someone like Pretti could be targeted. Throughout his career, Trump has shown a pattern of dismissing human frailty. In his book, Think Big, he wrote about hating weakness, and in interviews, he's admitted to avoiding hospitals because sickness bothers him. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he downplayed the virus, suggesting it only affects the old and weak, as if their lives matter less. He even mocked mask wearers and those showing caution as fearful. Fast forward to 2025 to 2026, with his renewed focus on deporting sick immigrants, he claims their burdens on healthcare, and you see how this ties back. Pretti, as an ICU nurse, dealt daily with the old and sick, often immigrants without papers who end up in emergency care. By protesting ICE, he was defending those very people Trump wants gone. Trump's hatred for people who love and have compassion isn't subtle. In a 2025 rally, he said, "These soft-hearted liberals don't get it. Compassion is killing our country." It's this language that radicalizes enforcement, turning agents into tools of an agenda where anyone against it is a target. Fairness demands we note, not all agents are villains, many are just following orders in a toxic environment. But the truth is, when the top dog sets the tone, the pack follows, and innocents like Pretti pay the price. This isn't isolated, it's part of a nationwide pattern where Trump's agenda labels opponents as enemies worthy of extreme measures. Take the protests in Minneapolis. They've swelled because folks see these killings as state-sanctioned hits on decency. Mayor Jacob Frey called it murder, demanding ICE's withdrawal, while Governor Tim Walz pushed for state probes. Nationally, Democrats like Representative Jasmine Crockett have held hearings, comparing ICE tactics to historical oppressions where compassion was criminalized. Even some Republicans are uneasy. Senator Susan Collins called for oversight, admitting the rhetoric has gone too far. Polls show it. A recent YouGov survey found 58% of Americans believe ICE uses excessive force, and 62% think Trump's words incite violence. In cities like New York and San Francisco, officials are creating hotlines to report federal abuses, fearing more targets like Pretti. And let's be clear on the human cost. Pretti left behind a family, colleagues in shock, and a community reeling. His death sparked vigils where people shared stories of his kindness, helping immigrant patients navigate care, volunteering at clinics for the underserved. If he was on any list, it was informal, born from a culture where Trump's disdain for compassion greenlights aggression against those who show it. To drive this home, consider the ripple effects. Trump's policies have led to resignations at DHS, with with insiders leaking that agents feel pressured to view protesters as combatants. Civil liberties experts warn this echoes authoritarian playbooks, where dissenters are systematically targeted. Pretti's case could be a tipping point. Lawsuits are mounting, with his family suing ICE for wrongful death, alleging his compassion made him a mark. The truth here is unflinching. Anyone who feels like Jesus felt loving the marginalized, aiding the stranger, is at risk in this climate. Anyone bucking the agenda, from nurses to activists, becomes a potential target. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition based on facts. Trump may deny it, but his words have consequences, and Pretti's blood is on that ledger. In wrapping this up, we've covered the who, what, why, and how, from Pretti's heroic life to his senseless death, Trump's damning quotes, and the systemic targeting of compassion. This is America in 2026, folks, and it's time to face it head-on with courage and clarity. Fairness means acknowledging Trump has supporters who see his toughness as necessary, but truth demands we call out when it crosses into danger. Lives like Pretti's remind us, compassion isn't weakness, it's our strength. If you also support democracy and freedom, feel free to join me in this fight. Click follow, click subscribe, and join me. Divided we fall, and together we can knock down mountains. Through unity is the only way we can make a change. I speak the truth, I share a bit of history, I share what is happening, I try to keep everyone updated with what is going on. I used to write for Newsbreak, but then I went on my own so that I can speak the truth and warn people freely without rules, because you deserve the truth. I do not consider myself independent news, I am just a truth speaker with a mix of everything. I also share about God. I appreciate your time. I do consider myself independent in the fact that no one controls my narrative. I will not say what everyone else wants to hear. That is not why I created this movement. It is either the truth or nothing. Thank you, stay safe, God bless, I love you all. Crowning Thoughts, True Speaker, copyright 2025 by Santiago D.C. Maria, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution.